Imagine you're a professional athlete in the NFL, and you're soon to be Hall of Famer. Nothing seems to be going wrong. You're living the life. But what if you also murder your wife and her friend? This is a true story on a man named J.Simpson. J.Simpson was a Hall of Fame running back in the NFL and is also this case's top suspect. Before we get into the case, let's get to know him a little more. O.J. grew up in San Francisco and lived with his family in the housing projects of Potrero Hills. In his early teenage years, he joined a street gang called the Persian Warriors and was briefly incarcerated at the San Francisco Youth Guidance Center. The former USC and Buffalo Bills running back was a suspect in the murder of his ex-wife, Nicole Brown Simpson, and her friend Ronald Goldman at their Brentwood home, but was later acquitted of the crimes, despite having led police on a high-speed chase in his Ford Bronco. O.J. and Nicole had two children together, daughter Sydney Brooke Simpson, born in 1985, and son Justin, born in 1988. O.J. in the later years attended the University of Southern California, where he played football for the USC Trojans and won the Heisman Trophy in 1968. He played professionally as a running back in the National Football League for 11 seasons, primarily with the Buffalo Bills from 1969 and 1977. O.J. Simpson was tried for the murders of his ex-wife Nicole Brown Simpson and her friend Ronald Goldman, who were stabbed to death outside Brown's condominium in the Brentwood neighborhood of Los Angeles on the night of June 13, 1994. O.J. was already accused of beating his ex-wife Nicole. O.J. admitted he beat Nicole and then told he needed to go with the officers to the police station. Instead, he drove off. A few days later, Nicole went to the station and said she didn't want them to proceed with the prosecution, but she consented to out-of-court mediation.
Physically hurt her?
Yes.
You have a bruiser? Fingers around her throat, correct?
I could have touched her neck, yes.
You mean you could have touched her? This was a violent episode.
O.J. Simpson claimed that the bruises on Nicole's face were just makeup.
Nicole's face?
No, I don't.
What do you think this reflects?
I think it reflects doing a movie that we're doing, and we're doing makeup.
On May 24, 1989, Simpson was sentenced to 24 months of probation, ordered to perform 120 hours of community service and pay fines totaling to about $470, and was told to attend counseling twice a week. Now going back to the murder of his ex-wife Nicole and her friend Ronald, they had ruled that Glenn Rogers killed them both, and not O.J. Simpson. Glenn Rogers had already been convicted of 2 other murders. As we all know, the wife and her friend had been stabbed. The knife that was used for the murder was actually buried under the perimeter of O.J.'s old estate. The knife was turned into an off-duty policeman. For some reason, the policeman kept it as a souvenir. Many years later, the knife was turned in and is now being tested by the LAPD in a top-secret investigation. O.J. Simpson eventually pleaded not guilty in court. Here is a clip of him getting announced he was not guilty for his charges.
Action. Find the defendant, Orenthal James Simpson, not guilty of the crime of murder in violation of Penal Code Section 187A, a felony upon Nicole Brown Simpson, a human being, as charged in count 1 of the information.
You could see how relieved he was when he heard what the judge had to say.
In the matter of the people of the state of California versus Orenthal James Simpson, we, the jury, in the above entitled action, find the defendant, Orenthal James Simpson, not guilty of the crime of murder in violation of Penal Code Section 187A, a felony upon Ronald Lyle Goldman, a human being, as charged in count 2 of the information.
This trial was known about worldwide, and he had many interviews after this. But there is one interview in particular that is very hard to watch.
I've never personally shaken hands with a murderer. It's good to see you.
Thank you. Very nice meeting you.
Doesn't that hurt your feelings?
The same woman who asked him that question at the end had a surprise coming to her.
I think it was his idea of a joke.
Nope.
And this is it.
To this day, the world refuses to believe this is true. Many have signed petitions to have this case looked over again, but has never been brought up. To this day, this case in particular has been one of the most controversial cases in history. That wraps up today's video, but if you want to see more on O.J. Simpson, and a deeper look into all the cases and his past trials, then let us know in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching.